The Mir space station is no more, but until recently, this floating constructor set was the pride of Russia. One person fortunate enough to experience life aboard Mir before its ultimate demise was American astronaut Jerry Lineker, who conducted a tour of the aging spacecraft. As crew physician, Jerry began with the medical console which he used to monitor the health of his fellow astronauts. He was able to test blood pressure, get hemoglobin counts and EKG readings, which were all sent via telemetry to the surgeon at Mission Control. To warm up meals aboard the station, canned foods were slotted into this cooker device for around 5 to 10 minutes. With the door closed, the crew were able to use the unit as a makeshift dining table. A second oven device, shaped like a small suitcase, was strapped to the ceiling so as not to get in the way. On the other side of the food preparation area was the commander's post, manned at the time by Russian mission commander Vasily, who controlled the station's flight path, main life support systems, and communications. While the commander kept a close eye on his scope and computer monitors, his main concern was a warning alarm panel to his left. Lineker explained that in his 4.5-month stay aboard Mir, they'd seen enough flashing lights on the warning panel to last a lifetime. Jerry now heads towards one of the last US modules added to Mir, called Feroda, or Module E. Most of the life science and microgravity equipment was housed here, so that the American astronauts could conduct their experiments aboard the station. Each module carried its own space fire extinguisher, which looks and works a little differently to those used on Earth. But fortunately, they do the same job. Oxygen breathing devices were also stored nearby. Both items came in very handy when a fire broke out aboard the station. Towards the end of the Feroda unit was another smaller module, but a strange thing happened whenever an astronaut entered this back room. The unit was on a 90-degree angle, so what was once the floor suddenly became the wall, and vice versa. Zero gravity, they discovered, does allow for some very unusual architecture in space. Perhaps even stranger than the room itself was what was stored inside. Thousands of little black beetles needed for a series of scientific experiments. Jerry and the crew joked that the only thing they feared more than a fire was for all those beetles to escape. This was the secondary airlock module, which was identical to the primary airlock, so it could be used in case of emergencies. An astronaut entered this room prior to a spacewalk and uses this equipment to go from station power to suit power. The controls allow an astronaut to open and close the depressurization valves, to connect suit tubes in order to get pressure to the suit, and remove much of the moisture that built up during the EVA. This unit was the spacesuit cooling system. An astronaut basically plugged these tubes into the suit to get cool air blowing into it. Exercise is very important on long trips in space, so Mir had 2 treadmills to help keep crew members fit. The control panel only ever offered 2 settings, sprint or walk. And as Jerry warned, when you hit sprint, you'd better be ready to run. The space bathroom was as small and as compact as the rest of the station, which is a fairly apt description for the space toilet as well. The cover lifted up, and solid waste was stored in a container at the base of the unit until it needed to be replaced by an unfortunate crew member. And finally, if things ever got too scary, there was always the Soyuz rescue vehicle for a quick escape, an option that many a Mir astronaut was believed to have considered, especially in the last few years of the faltering station's existence.